Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This recording has started.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You all can see this. This is what we chant in the beginning. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, this is every day the prayers we offer whenever we read the prayers first to general prayer. Offer my obeisance to spiritual master who has opened my eyes which are blind over the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight knowledge. Then we offer two prayers to Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON. And his divine A.C. Bhaktan Swami Prabhupada is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at Lotus Feet. O spiritual master, kindly preaching the message of Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries filled the imposture of the world. Like that. Yes. Okay, I'll see that I can copy later. Screen is visible to you, everybody? Clean?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
it's visible. Yeah.
Akshara Brahma Yoga, attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is self? What are fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? What are the demigods? Please explain this to me. How does the Lord of the sacrifice live in the body, and in which part does it live? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotion service know you at the time of death? So there are various questions he asked, totally 8 questions. But why does he ask this question at this time? It is because these tough words are used by Krishna in the previous chapter, last 2 shlokas. In the word like Brahma, Dhyatman, Adi Devam, Adi Yagnam, Prayana Kale, all this was mentioned by Krishna in the last 2 verses. So obvious Arjuna says, okay, I can't understand Krishna. Can you tell me the meaning of these words? So this is the answer to this, and the chapter closes. Brahman is Jiva, Adhyatma is nature of the Jiva, Karma is actions leading to the material body, Adibhuta rather, is the material nature, Adi Deva, the universal form which includes all the Devatas, Adi Yagna Paramatma. Where does the Adi Yagna reside? In the heart of all. How to remember Krishna at the time of death? That is the whole chapter we will spend time. Now, any activity actually has 3 components: Adhyatma, Adibhuta, Adi Yagna. Say seeing. Now, there has to be some kind of instrument for seeing, that is Adibhuta. And then there has to be a controller of that, any activity, that is Adideva. And me, the person who is going to see, that is Adhyatma. This division goes through in Bhagavatam very detailed way. Here it is in a summary explained in a simple way. Adhyatma nature of the jiva, Adi Bhuta is metal nature, just like you're using the eye at that time. And Adi Yagna is the controller of that organ eye. There will be some Devata controlling eye. Similarly for nose, the nose instrument itself. See, these are all technical terms, easy thing. Suppose you say tongue. There is instrument called the tongue. And then there is a Devata controlling this tongue. And there is you who is having this tongue, who is going to eat using this tongue. So these three terms, Adhyatma will become the soul having the tongue. And the tongue itself becomes Adi Bhuta. And the Devata controlling it is called Adi Deva. Adi Yagna is the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, which is everywhere. And where does Adi Yagna reside? In the heart of all. They're technical terms. But the chapter actually doesn't focus on them. Chapter focuses on the last thing, 8, how to remember Krishna at the time of death. This is unimaginable and an important question. The whole chapter focuses on this because the life is for preparation for this. Death is the examination and life is the preparation. And what is the examination? How to remember Krishna at the... And how do you remember Krishna? Essence is practice. Okay? Is everybody fine with this much?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Can you repeat the last one, Guruji?
Last one is this, how to remember Krishna at the point of time of death. That is by practice remembrance. You have to practice. Not suddenly you'll remember the Lord, you get that power. No. You have to practice. 8th one. Okay?
Adi
Nothing.
Yagna, I could not understand. Adi
Adi
Yagna.
Yagna is the Paramatma. That is the Paramatma.
Prabhuji, can you please once again explain this table? It's lot many informations, and can you please go a little slow?
No, whole chapter is doing with this only. So don't worry.
Okay.
You want, I can finish presentation here only, second slide, because all the 8 questions are answered. Then we can go and take some rest and sleep off. Okay. Then I'm telling you from Bhagavatam, from study of Bhagavatam. These
Okay.
terms are very vigorously used in Bhagavatam in explanation.
Yeah.
In this. Oh, people are already sharing this. Good. Good. Somebody has 6 a.m. too. There, everything is getting shared. 6 a.m. one. Okay, Brahman is the Jiva. Okay? What is Brahman, he asks? Brahman is referring to the Jiva. Brahman means actually great. So it refers to Jiva and also the Lord. Generally, when you say to the Lord, you don't say Brahman, you say Parabrahman, Supreme, the great one. Okay, the sound. We should have fine. Oh, make the sound. Okay. Then Adhyatma, the nature of the Jiva, self. Karma is very easy, and the actions leading to the present body. Then come the 3 terms Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva. 2, 4, and 5, they are connected actually. Suppose I am seeing. So Adi Bhuta at that time becomes the eye. Adhyatma, the self, is actually seeing. And Adi Deva, the controller of that organ eye. Now you get me? Say eating. So the tongue becomes Adi Bhuta, the metal nature, part of the metal nature which I am using for tasting. Adi Deva is the Devata which are controlling my tongue. You know, everything is finally controlled and it is divided. And Adhyatma me who is actually using the tongue for eating. Okay, you got it now? Say hearing one more time. That should be clear. Ear becomes Adibhuta. Adhyatma is me. And Adi Devata, the Devata controlling my hearing. So there are Devatas actually which are, when the creation occurs, Krishna does these things simultaneously. The organ, the Devata controlling, and the person who is going to use it. Okay. Adi Yagna is now the Lord, Paramatma. And where does the Lord reside? In the heart of all living entity. This will be explained in this chapter. And how to remember Krishna at the time of death? Practice remember throughout one's life. Okay, so I finished the chapter in one slide, but let me continue. The Supreme Lord said the indestructible transcendent living entity is called Brahman and its eternal nature is called the Self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma or the fruitive activities. Krishna is answering them. It's brief. These are the kind of activities you do. The kind of activities you do, you get a body accordingly. Top, you are doing kirtana in this picture. So it's very good. You get a very wonderful body in a Devaloka. Then you do some charity, so you enjoy in the heaven. But you are involved in sinful activities, you get animal body. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable, and the universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am the Lord, represented as Super Soul, dwelling in the heart of every embodied being. Actually, you can study this in the very beautiful videos are there on the net on caterpillar and butterfly, if you heard. It's a miracle, and this is a very strong argument for creation. Very, very strong argument for creation. Some other day I can show you even a video on this. There are beautiful videos on this. Antakale chamave vasmaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yasti nasti yatra samshaya. And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, that once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So Krishna says, if at the time of death you remember me, there is no doubt you will attain the spiritual body. This is now answer to the most important question. So whole life is a preparation for this. And here is an example of Bhishma. Bhagavatam explains a beautiful chapter on the first canto, where Bhishma, at the time of his leaving the body, offered beautiful prayers to Lord Krishna. Those prayers are recorded, and it shows that he's doing what is very difficult to do, and because he's a great devotee, the Lord personally stood before him at the time of his death, making it very easy. You have to remember somebody, and he's standing in front of you, makes it very, very easy. In fact, that's what the devotee desire. At least we can have kirtana. The devotees are there, nice devotees of faith in the Lord, and they're doing kirtana. Their kirtana at the time of that will be very, very useful. It makes it very easy to remember the Lord. And when he was leaving the body, practically everybody was there, because it's a great personality. From Mahabharata, one more instance is there. This is about Yudhishthira once having to meet Yaksha. And his brothers have almost died drinking the water. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj comes and says, you want to die like them or you want to survive? He said, no, you have to survive. And my brothers also should come alive. He said, okay, that I can do. But first thing, you have to answer my questions. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, okay, I'll answer your question. One of the questions was, what is the greatest wonder in this world? So Yudhishthira said this, ahani ani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam shesha stavaram icchanti kimasharam athaparam. He said, ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamalayam. Every moment you see so many people are dying. Meet death all around you. 1,000 living entities meet death at every moment. You go around, see some insects have died, some dogs have died, cat have died, some relatives have died. Every day we see that. Death is all around us. But a foolish living being never thinks himself being nonetheless, in spite of all the things, himself to be deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. He said, even though this is true, nobody prepares himself for death. He's saying, I will not die. Even though he sees death. This is the biggest surprise. He says, okay, Then Krishna gives a law of transmigration. The first shloka previous to that, Krishna talked about if you remember him, you go back to the kingdom of God. But Krishna says, overall, the law of transmigration is just like Newton's law. This is the law. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajate ante kale varam tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, the state one will attain without faith. So now this is a law. And if you remember God, what that was previous one, you go back to the kingdom of God. Otherwise, whatever is aspiration you have cultivated in your life, it will determine your next body. Therefore, person should become very, very serious spiritually. Very, very serious. And change the kind of aspiration he has. That can be done by a sadhana. What you will learn, see, when you go to the body of a dog, you go through experiential learning. Then after that, there is no learning by hearing. There is no learning by sadhana. And coming back to human life may take millions of births. It may take crores of years. And so much suffering thereof. Animal kingdom is so much suffering. We see on the road, dog is lying on the road, one truck goes, another truck is gone over that body, you don't notice. Terrible suffering. So why I cannot avoid it? So if I become serious, I avoid it by good sadhana, determination to change my aspirations, my desires, we can work on it. So at least let us understand with some example. This Bharat Maharaj was very great sage. And one day he was doing some tapasya in his ashram. He left quite early. He still could have ruled the world. But his son was ready. Quickly he just handed over and walked away. Bhagavatam records the renunciation as extraordinary. Extraordinary. They say unparalleled. The Bhagavatam says that that moment that one bird can jump from one branch of the tree to another branch, but this great personality was like a bird flying millions of miles high. Says his renunciation, the spirit of renunciation, extraordinary. And his seriousness to practice spiritual life was also extraordinary. Bharat son of Rishabhadeva. His rule was so great. Bhagavatam says, after him, India was named as Bharatvarsha. Still, he comes to the forest and he is doing tapasya, and when he is practicing spiritual life, he is quickly seeing love of Krishna manifest in his eyes. So it's not that whole life he was not doing nothing. Whole life he was cultivating spiritual life, but quickly to become more serious, he had come here. And he had reached what is known as the 8th stage in spiritual development. Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan, Kriya, Anartha, Nimitti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. Shraddha is just like you are all there having some faith, therefore you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Sadhu Sangha, you are looking for somebody who can enhance your devotion to the Lord. Sadhu Sangha. Bhajan, Kriya, the next stage, you take up some rules and regulations and practice of spiritual life, just like every moment, every day you learn something. Okay, I should chant Hare Krishna. Okay, I should do this. One by one we add up, we learn more items. Bhajan, in the Ekadashi is coming. Okay, I also want to practice Ekadashi. You learn what are things which are pleasing to Krishna and start adopting in your life. That is called Bhajan Kriya. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya. And when you take up the activities of chanting Hare Krishna, other rules and regulations, then Anartha Nivritti. Your unwanted desires, you become washed of all unwanted desires. Then Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajan Ke Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. You develop firm faith to practice this process because you see the benefit. When Anartha Nivritti happens, when your heart is washed of all unwanted things and experience what is known technically as Sattva, peace of mind, then I develop firm faith. I know this process works. I've totally changed. At the stage of Nishtha, I have not tasted the love of Krishna, but I have seen, experienced a change in myself tangibly within my perception. My mind has become so calm. Anartha, all unwanted desires, habits have gone away. All unwanted aspirations have gone away. So I get Nishtha, firm faith. And then I chant with faith. That chanting is very sweet. It leads to asakti, attachment to the Lord. Then preliminary love for God. And then prema, clear love for God. And once you get clear love for God, intense love for God, you see God face to face. So if you want to see God, you have to go through his 9 stages. Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. It's good if I write them out.
Guruji, can you explain Anartha Nivritti again?
I will write there. This is first stage Shraddha. You come to the association or you develop faith because of some reason, maybe good upbringing of your parents, because of maybe you unknowingly even appreciated the Lord just by taking prasadam. Oh, so nice, this prasadam. You did some personal service or took some association, you met some devotee while you're traveling. Shraddha stage, there was no faith, but faith came by good association, by some agya sukriti. Agya sukriti means unknowingly doing devotion service. That leads to sadhu sangha. You want to now announce your devotion service. That becomes sadhu sangha. The net, not manga, sadhu sangha. That leads to bhajana kriya. Once you are in sadhu sangha, they will always, oh no, bhajana kriya. Then that leads to anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti, sat shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti. Yeah, that looks better. Anartha nivritti, when anartha nivritti, unwanted thing vanish from the heart, that leads to nishtha. Firm faith. Oh, this is very wonderful. Because you should have. So many people say, I'm not getting firm faith. Yes, sir. You have to follow rules and regulations. And then a heart will be purified. Then you develop nishtha. There is a great difference between shraddha and nishtha. Shraddha is komal shraddha. Anybody, 10 people, atheists sit around you, your faith gets shaken up. But nishtha stage, you cannot be shaken. You will shake the word now. Because it works. You know it works. Nobody can argue with you because you have a perception it works. Now when you're chanting in nishtha, that chanting is done very attentively. It leads to ruchi. Then ruchi looks to ashakti. We can even write asakti. A developing attachment for the Lord. Asakti leads to what is known as bhava. Primary love for God. Love for God is arising now. And then is prema, clear love for God. So you can see this, these are 9 stages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, Bharat Maharaj had reached this situation, very, very advanced situation, bhava. Almost tears of love of Krishna already arising when you're thinking of Krishna. Because whole life was exemplary. I told you he was a great king. So now, just one stage before, and he gets trapped. So you remember, in the Ludo we used to play in childhood, at 99 there is a snake. Do you remember? There is a snake at the snake and ladder we used to play in childhood.
Yes.
And there is a snake at 99.
Yes.
So any stage before
Yes.
you get prema, you can be trapped. That is what it beautifully says. And for him, it is in bhava stage. Let us understand now the bhava stage. So he was sitting in the bhava stage with intense love of God and was praying to the Lord, meditating. His actually coming to the forest was fruitful. It's working out, everything going great. His life has been great till now. But once 99, there is a ladder, snake. So now what happens? He one day was just watching, a test comes. Krishna arranges test, you can pass or fail. One deer was standing there next to the river. You can see a stream is there. This is a stream of water. And one deer was standing here. Suddenly a lion came and roared loudly. The mother, not this is a child, the mother deer, fearing the life, just jumped over the stream. You can see it jumped like this. Then what happened? In the fear when you are there, if you know medically, it's very dangerous because any person can deliver a child. In fear, they say your mother, she is bearing a child, we should not give a shock. It may lead to premature delivery. This is known medically also. Now the mother deer jumps over the stream and in fear and anxiety has premature delivery, and the child, who's almost ready, is thrown out from her womb into the water. And she lands on the other side and runs. And because of exhaustion and the pain of childbirth, she goes to a cave and falls dead. And the child is now on the stream, drifting on the stream without a mother, helpless. So till now, no problem. He has not no. Now Bharat Maharaj feels that he has to take care. he feels that it is his duty by the providence because he has a duty to this small child now. So he goes up, picks up the child, brings to his ashram. And as the child, the deer grew up, actually deer lost interest in him, just like practically true with any animal. He runs to the forest because he is looking for a she deer. What he has to do with them? Because there is a level how much we can communicate across the species. There is a limitation. So he is busy with the other deers and sometimes comes to see him. But this person, Bharat Maharaj, who left his wife crying in the middle of night, secretly ran away, left his children crying, and whole kingdom crying. His rule was so good. I told you that's why India got name as Bharatvarsha. Such a good rule. All subjects were crying and felt very sad to miss such a great ruler. And even you are attached at there also palace. He has elephants, he has horses, their pets are there. He has left all of them. And here he has got too attached to a deer out of his foolishness. And so much he attached to the deer, that is the snake, the trap, that he lost his concentration. Can you see how he's doing yagna? He was putting ghee there on fire, but it's either on the deer. Oh my dear, how are you? You're fine. He says, okay. He'll go to the forest to every day collect some, wood for his yagna and cooking. He'll be carrying the deer with him because he's very worried some wild animal may eat him. He become too involved. You can see in the next picture, he became very attached to the deer, affectionate. Deer will come sometimes to meet you and run away, and whole day he will be searching for the deer. Became now mad. So therefore, any stage of spiritual life, you should be careful. He should have, at this moment when he was getting distracted, should have consulted his guru. That is what the mistake technically is understood here he did. He should have consulted somebody. What should I do? Because see, even a contemporary, forget even a advanced, just say, suppose I get addicted to smoking. Now you're not addicted to smoking, so you have in your words, the power to pull me out. Sometimes we get addicted to something foolish. I remember there was once in college I had gone. So one girl came to me and said, I'm in a very difficult situation. I'm not able to study. I've dropped 1 year. I said, what happened to you? No, please advise me. I said, please reveal your mind. What happened? Why did you drop a year? I got involved with the boy. Okay, expected. Then I was trying to advise her that, this is not good, blah, blah, blah. Then she said to me something that, you know who the boy is? I said, I don't know, tell me. She told about a boy. Oh, that one, I knew that boy. He's a buffalo. Why you got involved with the buffalo? Just I use those words. And she said she forgot the boy because of my words. Because I was not attached to that boy. See, I was seeing him in reality. He was a fat bum. And I said, why you got involved with that buffalo? You got my point? So you may get sometimes attached sillily to something. But your friend who is not involved with that, even he can pull you out of that. You're attached to smoking. He's not a smoker. He can straightway say, you think you have nothing in your life better than smoking when, smoke inside your lung and destroying your lung. His words have an effect because he's not attached to smoking. And particularly an advanced person and spiritually with your guide is stronger. So when you reveal your mind, he can hit your mind. And, we don't need to be pampered every time. Sometimes they need to be slapped our mind, but we have no capacity because we are so attached to the mind. Somebody else can do it. And that's what Bharat Maharaj should have done instead of, going to this stage. And then what happens is very unfortunate. Bhagavatam records, next life, something unfortunate happens to him. And what is that? This. So he, one day when deer had not come, searching for the deer, falls from a mountain, slips and falls. And well, he thinks intensely about the deer. And the deer comes when he's, he's lying on a maybe pool of broken bones and slowly he dies. Even has a darshan of his deer who comes to see him, and he leaves the body and becomes a deer next life. And when he becomes a deer next life, Krishna is very kind to him, gives him the remembrance because he had a highly advanced person, but Krishna did not spare him for the foolishness. He becomes law acted. So sometimes we think I'm doing spiritual life, I can do anything, everything. Therefore we say, please remember the example of Bharat Maharaj. So there, when he becomes a deer, is the remembrance. Now he is very, very serious in this life as a deer body. After he can start walking, he runs away to some abode of the sages and there eat flowers and other thing, as prasadam, and he keeps himself in the company of the sages as far as practically possible. And in the next life, he is born again as a human being, is given a concession, otherwise directly you are not born. And there he again have the memory of what all happened to him. He is known as Jada Bharata. He does not even talk. He's so serious. Whole life. Extremely serious. Outwardly he acts as deaf and dumb. And internally he's actually very, very advanced devotee. Totally now he doesn't want to make any mistake. He doesn't want to get involved in the world. Wants to complete his spiritual life. But at the end, towards later part of his life, one day he meets a king and he starts preaching to the king out of some situation. And these 4 chapters are recorded in the Bhagavatam, very advanced spiritual knowledge that he has. Teachings of Jadabharata to King Rahuguna. So this is the whole story. This is the story which became success later. तस्मा सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मर युद्ध च मयि अर्पिता मनो विद्धि मां विवेशसि असंशया. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, at the same time carry out a prescribed duty of fighting. With the activities dedicated to me and your mind intelligence fixed on me, you'll attain me without a doubt. Tasma sarveshu kalushu. Therefore, it says at the end of life, Mam anusmara. Arjuna, you fight, but don't forget me while fighting. So this is a very important point, that whatever profession you do, every profession has a level of anxiety. So if you're going to get into a higher profession which has more anxiety and you forget God, better come back one step behind. They say in management, everybody works till he is a failure. Do you know this? Just like sometimes people say, we had a prime minister who was very good as the finance minister, but the prime minister was a failure because that was beyond his capacity. In management, they say everybody keeps growing till he is a failure because he keeps taking more and more responsibility till he reaches a point which is beyond his capacity. So rather than resigning or going back a step which is not socially acceptable, we can enhance our capacity always, everybody. And that enhancing capacity comes by Mam Anusmara Yudacha. We should purify ourselves so that we don't forget Lord. That is the criteria whether your responsibility is well done. Peacefully, we should be able to remember the Lord. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. I can keep expanding on this point. Mai arpita mano buddhi mam evavashya se samshaya. Activity dedicated to mind and intelligence fixed on me will attain you without a doubt. Look at Prahlad Maharaj, his capacity. Every day death penalty, every day. You all know the famous Bhakta Prahlad. Every day death penalty. He was fearless. In fact, in Bhakti Vriksha that I do, first 3-4 sessions I spent talking about his life. Unimaginable his life. And his memory is so strong. He's the perfection of smarana. Constantly remembers the Lord. Even though his father every day gives him death penalty. Never gets angry at his father. So peaceful. And later his opportunity got to preach to his classmates. He converted all of them to devotees. This is amazing. Unimaginable. No fear. Always remembering the Lord in spite of any situation. Look at him, the hero, Bhakta Prahlad. All his friends also started Harinam. And his instruction to his friends is there in the Bhagavatam. What debate he has with his father now and then, that is also recorded in the Bhagavatam. And finally, the prayers he offers to Narasimhadeva after Narasimhadeva comes and relieves him of his problem of his father giving him death penalty. And that prayers are beautiful prayers given to Prahlad Maharaj. अभ्यास योग युक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayan. Beautiful shlokas. This chapter is dedicated to how to remember God at the time of death. Who meditates on the Supreme Personality Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he or Partha is sure to attain me. This is your target, everybody's target. If you remember God at the time of death, you will not see Yamadutas, we see Vishnudutas, and will come and take you back to God. But this is 1 in a million. 99.999999% it is Yamadutas who come. And they take you for, varieties of hells, 28 varieties of hell. That also we discuss in Bhakti Vriksha. What are the different varieties? What is the punishment? So Ajamila was a very great personality in the childhood, and he was worshipping the Lord very nicely. Today, this many stories I'm going to tell you. And then what happens that one day he's gone to the forest to collect flowers. While doing that, he hears the sound of a boy and a girl laughing in the middle of forest. He knows what it is expected to be, but becomes foolishly curious. We should never play with fire, which he did, and we had to pay the result again. But his failure is much at a much lower level than Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj failure was a small failure, failure of, you can see at a very advanced situation. His failure is at much, say, Nishtha level. Shraddha Sadhu Ganga Bhajan Kriya Anartha Nivritti Nishtha. He was quite a sweet person, and his qualities are listed in Bhagavatam. Very nice, pious Brahmana, and living a pure life and full of wonderful qualities, but not very advanced spiritualist, because what he fell for will not happen at very advanced situation. He is much more at a lower situation. We can say anartha nivritti or nishtha situation. Gentleman. He was a gentleman, no doubt, at that point. Young married person. He was very married. So then what happened that one day he went to the forest, and there he heard the sound like this. So what to do? So he thought, I will just see for 1 minute, foolish curiosity. Who are the people involved? Let me just see it. Okay? He hid behind a tree to watch the scene going on, and he played with fire. Dhyayate Vishaya Pumsa Sangaste Shubhajayate. We discussed second chapter. Sangha Sanjayate Kama Karama Krodha Vijayate. Slowly, the curiosity tends into attachment. Oh my God! I never knew this prostitute is so beautiful. He's watching them embracing each other, one a prostitute and another third-rate man, which are known for such activities. He's seeing them now. Sangha Sanjayati Kama. She's a prostitute. No, I can also pay and enjoy. Why he? Why not me? Kama, intense desire to enjoy the prostitute. Krodha, why not me? I will enjoy. Krodha, the Bhavati Sammoha. His mind is now getting delusion. He is losing hold of himself. Sammohas with him, lost his memory. He's a married person with a beautiful wife. Why he has to get involved with this? Smriti Bhamatad, Buddhi Nasha, lost intelligence, became crazy now. And he came back home with the flowers because it was getting late for the puja. He came back home with the flowers, gave flowers to his father who was doing the puja. He was a famous priest, his father. Went to his room. His mind is reeling. And Pranashati, last stage he falls down. I cannot live without that woman. I love her. I love her. That stupid thing started. And then he met the prostitute next day and said that, why don't you stay at my house as a servant? There is so much work to do. He's cheating her, cheating himself. She said, okay, but you have to pay me this much every day. I don't mind. So yeah, great for you. You don't look for a customer every day. Come. So he brought her all with belonging, packed her up and brought to his own house. His father, mother saw what's happening very soon in a few days' time. They just left the home. Their own home, they left it for the child. They tried to counsel him. Said, Papa, why? What's the problem with you? I love her. I want love. All movies you see that rubbish only. Therefore, I request don't see the rubbish movies. There is a big difference between love and lust. Actually, what they say, pyar ho gaya, it's actually lust ho gaya. Not pyar ho gaya. Pyar only you have with God first. Through God, we can love somebody, not directly. Directly is only lust. Some kind of adan pradan, some kind of business. A boy sees the girl on the street, wants to touch her. So she'll give a slap. So what does he do? He says, I love you. Idea is to touch her. And the girl looks at the boy, oh, handsome boy. I also love you. That's what is going in his word. Cheating in the name of love. And then what happens that his wife also walks out after a few days. She tried to convince him. What's your problem? You stay here. I love you and I love her also. She said, very good. I'm your married wife. I cannot stand all this nonsense. And this prostitute was a drunkard. He first learns drinking from her. And then he has made a calculation that, they were very famous priests in the town. Dakshina was quite big. So he can easily maintain the prostitute. So he's going out to people collecting Dakshina. But Dakshina is given out of respect. It cannot be demanded. So he says, please give me Dakshina. I am worshipping the Lord. People say, yes, but we also know what other things you're doing. Get lost from here. He comes back home and now he cannot live without her. I love her. These people don't understand, gone crazy. My mother, my parents gone crazy. Then my wife got crazy. The whole town was gone crazy. They don't understand. I love her. It is love. Pyar ho gaya. And then how does he maintain her? He can't leave her. Nobody understands his mistake. He only finds mistake in the whole world. Then he goes into, nasty profession and sliding slope, gets into gambling, gets into robbing, gets into plundering and even murders. He becomes a crazy person just to maintain the prostitute, cannot leave her. And he has 10 children from the prostitute, one after another. He has finished. Say he was 20-year-old boy when he slipped, young boy. He become 88-year-old. And here he is with the last child, whom he names Narayana. And Bhagavatam says, every person in the world who knew about him was spitting at him. Pooh! What a life this is. The Bhagavatam records him as a husband of the prostitute, who is a drunkard. And he totally degrades himself from a gentleman to a very low class person. And there, one person was not spitting at him, that is Krishna. Actually, every person in life gets a realization. Everybody goes through tough times sometimes. And there is one person within his heart, there was somebody encouraging him always. That's the Lord. So Lord never spits at his child, always thinking what to do. So now the Lord decides to save this boy who was such a nice worshipper of him. He says, no, he did great worship. Let me try to help him. He didn't listen to me now. Let me try a trick. What he does is that he inspires him to name his child Narayana. So now what happens when the child is born is every day chanting Narayana, 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 Narayana is chanting. And he is getting slowly purified. And at the time of death, what happens? He intensely calls out. His child is there and Yamudutas come and catch him. This is what happens. I have the picture. Yes, the Yamudutas come and catch him at the time of death. He said, why you have come? I'm a Brahmin. What kind of Brahmin? Useless fellow. We'll take you and we have, because every account is kept. You may say, why God does no? Not God, sir. He delegates to Yamuduta, Yamaraj. Yamaraj also, there is a personality. He has to do that work. What do you call him? Chitragupta. He has a work. He has a book to write all your account. So why does it take so much trouble? There are not any other work. People sometimes, particularly in the Western world, get very angry. Somebody infringes in your privacy. I was hearing, if you look at a neighbor's house, he gets very angry. Why my privacy? Don't look at that. So anyway, but don't worry, your privacy. Every account is kept by Chitragupta. And Chitragupta says, I have a big book ready. There's a lot of work with you we have to do. A lot of punishments are waiting for you. So anyway, before this all happens, I'm just amplifying it too much. This person sees his child in front of him and sees the Yamudutas. He cries out to the child, Narayana, save me, with tears in his eyes. And book, Vishnudas appear at that moment. These are the agents of Narayana. Wait! Don't fear, don't fear. You see the hand is above. Don't fear, Ajamila, don't fear, be calm. And they tell other people, stop, please stop. And then there is a debate between them. This also, I discuss in Bhakti Vriksha, the debate. The big debate, what is dharma between them. And then after that, they cut off the ropes and they tell them to get lost. And they go away from that place. You can see the swords are out. They tell the Yamudutas to get away from that place. Yamudutas go away. Generally, actually, either Yamudutas come or Vishnutas come. In this unique case, both came. Then after that, he has an opportunity, a chance given, and he practices spiritual life. And he goes to the Haridwar, holy place. Ajamila now sits down. First, he regrets what he did. He cries over what he did. He gave so much pain to his wife and parents. He intensely cries. There should be tears of repentance when you want to change yourself. And there is penance. And when his penance have matured, he becomes totally pure. He gives up his body and he gets the body of spiritual world. Can you see this? Then he climbs the Vaikuntha Vimana. And the same Vishnutas who had come to meet him that time, again meet him and take him back to the spiritual world. So this is a very success story given in Bhagavatam, and it's very nice. The reason being, he got a second chance. So all of us have that opportunity to advance and take the second chance. Then how we should meditate? One should meditate on the Supreme Person as one who knows everything, as he is the oldest I need 10 more minutes today to finish. Who's the control of the smallest, smaller than the smallest? So it's not that whimsically you meditate. You know, I told you yesterday, the joke has become on sixth class, sixth chapter. The people think of meditation and they're not really serious on what they're meditating. It's so foolish it is. I'm eating. What are you eating? That is also important. Similarly, I'm meditating. That is also important how you meditate, what you meditate. So how you should meditate? Our Krishna as a supreme person who knows everything. Yeah, meditate on God. This is what the qualifications of God. Who's the oldest? And there's a beautiful painting of Krishna you can locate from the net. It's there and download. This is, I think, one of the most beautiful paintings made in ISKCON. So beautiful. Who's the controller? Who's the smaller than the smallest? Who's the maintainer? Everything who's beyond all material conception. Who's inconceivable and who's always a person. He is luminous like the sun and being transcendental beyond the material nature. God is always a person. I'm going to repeat this 18 times in 18 chapters. But somehow what has gone down in society is that God doesn't have form. He can assume any form. He is ultimately energy. Isn't it so? You don't need to think of him as a person. You can meditate him as but it's not true. God has a beautiful form. My father has a beautiful form and personality. My grandfather also has a form and personality. My great-grandfather also had a form and personality. You don't have in house pictures are there sometimes. Father, grandfather, great-grandfather. We don't see a candle or light at the end of it. No, there is a person. Krishna was teaching to Arjuna as a person in front, not as the light. I know instructing him. All the devatas are also always meditating on the form of the Lord. This is the Brahma and the devatas. All of them meditating on Krishna at the time, or Narayana, the time Bhudevi gave the problem. Bhudevi gave the problem to Brahma that earth has become unmanageable. Brahma said, it's beyond my capacity, it's total mess. Then he prays to the Lord to come. His Lord Shiva also praying to Sankarsana. So sometimes this question may be there, that isn't the problem more today than what the Bhudevi saw? Yes. So why the Lord has not come? He has come at the name. And no way the name is less than the Lord. No way it is less than Avinattam Nama Namina. Therefore, every time I say, Lord has come as a name, just chant the name attentively. You can overcome the problem of Kali Yuga. You can't do it on your own. But if you chant the names of the Lord, you can overcome the problem of Kali Yuga. So this is anyway the Lord being meditated upon by the Devatas. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalema shashvatam napnumanti mahatmanaha samsiddhi paramam gata. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of misery because they attained the highest perfection. This is another story now. Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, I'll just cut short the story. I'll explain some other day. All the stories in Bhakti Vriksha I read. First maybe 5-6 weeks I want to just expand on the ideas of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a formula. Bhagavatam is solved examples. In physics we study formula, F equal to MA. Then solved examples we need to understand that in every angle and go deeper into the subject. That is Bhagavata. In quality, both literatures are the topmost literatures of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is graduation, Bhagavatam is post-graduation. So Dhruva Maharaj, at the perfection of his life, the Vaikuntha Vimana came. So when it came, he said, what about a mother? She's the one who guided me to search for God. Okay. And they say, it works. Sifarish, a recommendation works here also. So the mother was all taken back to God. Very interesting it is. Because they've attained the highest perfection. So once you go back to the spiritual world, you do not come back. Because this world is miserable. Why you'll come? Because this world is dukkhalayam. Please note the words. Dukkhalayam. This world is full of misery. You can see this, full of misery. From birth, there is misery till death. Birth is painful. Then you grow up as a child. There are schools and examinations. That is painful. Then you have to work in office, maintain the family. That's painful. And then death is painful. Old age is painful. And you say, okay, I deal with it. Sir, there is one more problem. It is temporary. It's a temporary place full of miseries. That's the nature of this world. So a person who reaches the Lord doesn't come to this place which is temporary and full of miseries. Okay, that is what it discusses in this world. From the highest planet to the metal world down to the lowest, all the places of misery where repeated birth take place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never take birth again. Now, in this chapter, Krishna starts talking about his abode in a limited way. In the Bhagavatam, the abode is explained in detail. Bhagavad Gita, that much time is not there. But Krishna talks about his abode in this chapter uniquely. And then he says about how we are wasting our time going up and down. I spent a lot of time in the fourth chapter, if you remember. You can study the notes explaining this time of Vedic time. Again, there is some calculation here. 1,000 ages stated together is the duration of Brahma's one day. Brahman's one day equal to 1,000 cycles of Divya Yugas. I explained to you. One Divya Yuga is a set of 4 Yugas, 4.3 million into 1,000 is 4.3 billion. Similarly, the diet of Brahma, that another 4.3 billion. 8.6 billion is the 24 hours of Brahma. And when the Brahma's days manifest, multitude of living entities come into being, and the arrival of Brahma night, they are all annihilated. After 4.3 billion years, when Brahma goes to take rest in the evening, he destroys almost everything. And because when he's sleeping, the world should not run, because he's the CEO. He has to manage. So it is very effortless for him, mini pralaya to do every day in the evening, and to do creation is as good as for us taking bath and putting tilak and getting ready. So easy for him, not much difficult. Again, the day comes and his host of beings are active. Again, the night falls apart, that they are helplessly dissolved. And finally, when Brahma dies, that is Mahapralaya, everything, the whole universe is completely destroyed. So you cannot stay here anyway. That is what the message from this we can take. Why not look for something permanent? This is the famous shloka. Parastasmad bhavo anyat vyakta avyakta sanatanaha. Yet there is another nature which is eternal, transcendental to the manifestation and manifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. The spiritual world, where the Lord is worshipped by the devotees, eternally full of happiness. This is Lord being worshipped everywhere. That which Vedanta describes unmanifest, Krishna continues and infallible, and that which is known as supreme destination, that place from which having attained in one never returns, that is my supreme abode, that is 8.21. And this I have explained to you. If I want, I can explain to you today again the discussion of the Vedic cosmos. This is the spiritual world. This is Goloka. This is actually the Vaikuntha is here. In Vaikuntha, there's like so many planets, and the center is Goloka. Goloka, the Lord resides in two-armed forms, and nobody knows he is God. He is worshipped and loved because of his qualities, not because of his powers here. And he goes under the shelter of his devotees. And the most intense pastimes happen here because love in which fear is not there, awe and reverence is not there, is real love. And here Krishna exchanges the devotee 5 kinds of love. One is as a pet, Shanta, Dasya as a servant, and as a Sakhya as a friend, as a father, mother, that Vasalya, and as Madhurya. Madhurya means the lover. But in Vaikuntha, only 2 you get. You get Shanta and Dasya. Above things are not available. You cannot keep friendship. You have to keep distance out of respect. But here, nobody even knows he's God. He makes them forget. So this is actually sweetest place we like to go as devotees, which we call Goloka. Vaikuntha also not bad. You get eternal engagement. We do not know where we belong to because we have forgotten God, also forgotten our service. So even going to Vaikuntha is great, but going to Goloka is called special. And this was the details of other part of the creation which I do not know whether I discussed with you people. So this is Krishna in Goloka doing his very funny pastimes always. He gives so much pleasure to Mother Yashoda every day doing something very naughty, and she has enough fun. Every day you don't die. Suppose you are the mother like Mother. Krishna can expand. Just like in Dwaraka, there was 16,100 wives. Krishna was available in every house. He was there in every house. That is his power. Similarly, if you are a mother like Mother Yashoda, Krishna is available to you every day. You will not die, neither Krishna will die. You will remain of the same age, young and beautiful. He will remain the same age, young and beautiful, as a child. And he'll play with you every day. Everything is same. Only love increases every day. That's the spiritual world. And the love is pure and spiritual. It causes unlimited happiness. By chanting Nama of the Lord itself, we feel so much happiness. Just imagine playing with Him. It's the sweetest thing to do. Or as a friend, his friends are playing with him. That's an opportunity in the spiritual world. In fact, that so much devotees want to reach Krishna's lotus feet. There's a prayer of Sri Vaishnava great Acharya, King Kulashekara. He says, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjaram. Any Sri Vaishnava is there in the audience today? They will chant very nicely this one. They have contested this one. Nobody is there. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja. Huh? Huh?
We are there, but not very knowing honestly, Prabhu.
You can try. You chant this from
Yes.
Kulashekara. Yeah, try. You can chant this, Krishna Tvadiya. Chalo, I will chant then. Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Advaiva me Vishutumanasa Raja Hamsaha Prana Prayana Samaye Kapapata Vitte Pitte Kantavaro Dhanavidhau Smarana Kutaste. In fact, Prabhupada liked it so much, he translated this book of Kulashekara Alva, Mukundamala Stotra. Say, oh Krishna, please allow my mind to immediately yield to your lotus flower like fit. Just as the flamingo enters into the labyrinth of the lotus flower stems, So when at the moment of my last breath, my throat becomes constricted by the action of the bodily humors, air, bile and phlegm, how will I be able to remember you? If the old age I may not be able to chant your name, my Lord, yet let young age only let me die, give up my body, meditating on your lotus. A very sweet prayer to the Lord. So then at the last instruction of Krishna in this chapter, Vedeshu Yagneshu Tapassu Chaiva Daneshu Cha Punya Phalam Pradishtam Atyedita Sarva Vidam Viditva Yogi Param Sthana Upayati Chadyam. It says that, now you're hearing for 1.5 hours Bhagavad Gita every day. And I congratulate you on that. It's a beautiful thing you're doing. Every chapter has so much Shruti Phala you can't imagine. If the person who accepts the path of devotion service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Veda, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities, at the end he enters the supreme abode. This is so you don't lose anything. You say, okay, I was hearing Bhagavad Gita, I could have done something else. Don't worry. Krishna says, I'll give you everything, result of everything you could have done at that time. Studying the Vedas, you'll get the result of that. Performing austere tapasya, I'll give you that benefit of that punya of that. Doing charity, I'll give you that profit also. Performing some philosophical, fruitive activity, I'll give you everything. Don't have to worry, just hear Bhagavad Gita. So this is how I divided this chapter. 8 questions answered by Arjuna answered, 8.1 to 8.4. Then remembering Krishna at the time of death, 8.5 to 8.8. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu. Remembering Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti, remembering Krishna by pure Bhakti. And then finally material word versus spiritual word. And supremacy of pure Bhakti in attaining Krishna. Yes. Go back. Thank you for maintaining so much silence. Any question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
No question.
Deepak here. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, my question is regarding karma and rebirth. As we have discussed a lot of things today. So Prabhuji, recently one incident happened. One of my friends, 6 years old daughter passed away because of some heart conditions and pulmonary hypertension and related conditions. So I feel personally, Prabhuji, it is very unfair because she was just 6 years old. When we talk about karma, rebirth and all, how can we justify this incident here?
What is that? I didn't get you totally. No, karma is not of this life. Karma is of millions of lives, not one life. You are saying, say, now you want to go to karma theory. Say, suppose, I'll give you a better example. Let me see how many people can answer. There was a teacher, elderly teacher, and one day a lady, elderly teacher, say 60 years of age, still teaching in the college. She was walking near the college. And suddenly 10, 15 youngsters came and they started beating her left, right, center. Without any mercy. Let her, thud, thud. An old lady can hardly defend, badly beaten up. They steal all her money, her mobile, everything, and they run away. Isn't this bad? Is bad or not? Very bad. And what was still worse was that a lot of people were there all around, whole college was around. Nobody came to rescue her. Isn't that horrible? It's horrible. That somebody should have come to rescue. 1,000 students are watching. They're just taking what happens today from mobile one photograph. Nobody was coming forward to help her. That happens every day. My question is the third thing now. We say God is observing everything. So he was also observing the incident. Isn't that bad? He should have come to help her. So how do you justify this? You say you believe in God. What is your God doing that time? He also watched. When he said the audience did bad in just observing and not doing anything. So if God is observing and not doing anything to that poor lady, he's also bad. So how do you justify now? Yes, anybody?
Prabhuji, she didn't call out to him.
It was a result of our
In the
previous births.
in a
Huh?
Purva karma, in a Purva Janma, that lady had
All the experts
in a
are out.
Purva Janma.
No, see,
Can you hear me?
I'll give you a simple example even here. Generally, what happens, karma means we see, yeah, you have come to the right track, all of you. See, karma means we see a short instance sometime. We saw that half an hour of that lady. Just expand whole life, even the whole life of the lady. And you have stayed in colleges. Have you not met a teacher which is very tough sometimes? Totally insensitive. In my college, I remember we were 300 in a batch. One professor failed 250 people. ES 207. When he gone for a silver jubilee, we did call him there. He came for a silver envy. And but still, and then a lighter spirit, we didn't take it. But so many people, I remember my friends, they stayed one more year in the college because of failing in that course. He just almost failed the whole batch. So, okay, this was okay, maybe genuine reason, but suppose somebody is really playing with the lives of the students, and failing such major, this thing shows something is, you cannot become sometime just sort of ego got hurt something and you fail the whole batch and you are very angry. Sometimes youngsters are like, soft like rose. You don't know when you shout at them what they undergo at home. They may be crying, isn't it? They get shaken up. So if the teacher was being very cruel to the students, and you also have teachers like that, and the teacher was very cruel to the students, it's possible, and was misusing the position of authority and breaking so many youngsters' heart. And so many children were tortured because of the teacher emotionally. And the whole thing was unpunished. It went beyond the, reason and logic and was out of the duty. And the teacher was being extremely cruel to the students. And it was all unpunished. Isn't it? Waiting for the day the karma had to manifest. So when you look at the whole life, sometimes you can understand what is happening. Or sometimes you look a little more wide, a few lives is a punarjanma, then you can understand it. See, there is nothing lamentable in kingdom of God. In life, many times, I also go through tough situations, see very tough things in life. I just go and sit in front of the Lord, and I see He's smiling. Beautiful. Okay, you are in control. You are managing everything perfectly. I have that understanding and faith. I have nothing to worry now. That faith should be there. You got it? Not only for others, for yourself also. So many things happen in life. Thank you, Krishna. He never does anything wrong. जो हुआ अच्छा हुआ, that people say as Gita Sar, but और अच्छा हो सकता था. If you chant Hare Krishna, it could have been still better. Every moment we are in a field of experience because of a pura karma. How you behave at that time, that is the freedom you have, and you can create a karma, better karma. But present situation, if I am in some particular situation, it is because of my past responsible and irresponsible behavior. Okay?
Prabhuji, I have a
Prabhuji.
question. I have a
Yes.
question to ask. My question is that sometime we are hurt because of some person, because of his ill deed or his abusive behavior
That's
or
your
something
karma.
like that.
That's your karma.
Okay.
Don't blame
Okay.
him.
And no. My question is not this. Then we curse that person. Okay,
Oh, then
उसके
you go
साथ
to,
ऐसा
you
हो
also go
जाए,
to hell.
ऐसा हो जाए.
Both of you go to hell.
And in later life, we feel that this thing has happened with that person, and then we feel regret. We regret that why did we do that? Why we curse that person? Why we did that? So what is that?
Bhagavatam says very wisely. It says somebody is giving you pain, he goes to hell definitely. But if you point finger at him, he is giving pain, you also go to hell. So we should not point finger at anybody because that's your own karma coming through somebody. We should tolerate and suffer. Okay. Suppose somebody you go to office and insults you, makes your life nowadays very difficult to manage people, and he makes your life miserable. It happens very common. You have to tolerate.
But
My,
tolerance does not mean that we should be like exploited by somebody. Like
no,
it
no,
was
we should
without
be
any fault,
intelligent. We should be
without any
not
fault if
ahimsa.
you
I'm
have been
saying.
abused.
I'm not saying Gandhi's ahimsa. Somebody slaps on right side. Okay, slap here also. I'm not saying that. We should be intelligent and choose a situation. You can change the job, or you can change the situation. But the suffering that came anyway, take it as your karma and just forget it, forgive and forget and proceed. Because nobody can harm you unless you harm yourself. So they've been this. See, suppose I want to come and slap you. Okay? I will not be able to do it if your karma is not there. That's the point. If somebody will stop me, hey, you are a sadhu, what are you doing? I just wanted to slap. Why? What's the fun? I wanted to slap. So I creating karma at that time. And you're suffering your karma.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, I just want to add on to what you were saying. Like you said that there is suffering. Say if there's a problem in the job, we can quit. But sometimes people face problems at home and there are issues. What is the tolerance level there? You can't quit. You have responsibilities to
See
wife
what
and
happens, tolerance level you want to learn from Radha Maharaj. What tolerance, what difficulty you are having? Everyday death penalty. What do you want to compare? Everyday death penalty. And he never got angry at his father, never. Very peaceful. In fact, when Narasimha killed his father and asked him, what do you want? He said, please forgive my father. He was so offensive. He asked, please forgive my father. That's unimaginable.
But
So
Prabhuji,
Hare
that is the
Krishna
highest
Prabhuji.
level. That is
See,
the
also
highest
what
level, I
happens,
think.
more and more you become spiritually involved. You don't desire name, fame, respect in the world. So what people are insulting is your body and mind, no? You are none of them. So you don't take an offense at all. Somebody says you're idiot, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm not the body. Keep saying. I don't attach. See, when I'm saying, suppose I attach with the car, I feel I'm the car. Somebody says car is not good, you feel bad because you're so attached to your car. So if the car is not good, yeah, it's true, okay, it's not good. Then what's the big deal? I'm not the car. But you're attached to the body. Somebody says you don't look good. I become very upset. Why is he saying like that? Somebody says you are very buddhu, dull. Yeah, that is what my mind. I'm neither the mind, I'm neither the body. Keep telling. So I'm detached.
Guruji.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes. We wanted to see some videos today. Now I thought we will see Ajamila video today. Because other video I can share also, mind control one. To your group. Ajamila is amazing video, but Ajamila, I told you the story. There is a puppet show of that, and you will all enjoy. The children will also enjoy the puppet show. Or I can show you the mind control video, either of them. In the beginning only they remind. Should we do that or we continue question answers? Maybe 2, 3 more questions.
Prabhuji,
I
what is
have
the
a
question?
question.
Prabhuji, I have.
Yeah,
Mind
Prabhuji, I have a
control
question.
video.
Yeah, what is the question?
So, Prabhuji, I don't know if you have ever felt this, but when you worship Krishna, you feel like your day is going good. But is it mandatory to worship Krishna, or uh, is it is it the right thing to do? Is the right karma? Can you answer it in accordance with Gita? Like, what does it says? If you
No,
have an
karma you do,
option.
where is God there? Then you next life you may still become an animal. See, try to understand this.
So it's mandatory to worship Krishna.
Oh no, it's for your own good. See, See, one level of mercy God is giving everybody, including animals. You don't have to ask for that. Food He gives everybody. Even say, take an example. Your child runs away out of the house. Still, you will, if you can, you will see to it he has food to eat. He has rebelled against you. He's speaking against you every day. He says, Father doesn't exist. There is no Father only. Still doesn't matter. You will see to it, your side love remains. You see to the child doesn't die of starvation. Correct? You'll arrange that. So that mercy that our necessities are given, we as human society might have mismanaged, but no other living entity is dying of starvation. Only we are the spatial jokers who mismanage the Lord's resources. More than we need, God has supplied. It's like a father always supplies for the children more than he needs. Therefore, there's every species, nobody is starving because they don't have greed, and human beings are starving because of greed. That's a big analysis. Now, that is one mercy. But if you want special mercy, you want connection to the Lord, you want to relate to the Lord, you want to go back to the God's kingdom, for that you have to pray, not for food. That what people mostly go and pray, that is not the object of praying. That is foolish. God give me food. Suppose you go to your mother. That's why somebody asked me yesterday the question, what kind of God is this? Every day you have to bow down to him. No, you don't have to bow down to your mother. Mama, today will give me lunch. Any give big dandavat. Mama, today give me lunch. Please, Mama. We don't have to do that to the parents. So why you have to go and pray to the Lord every day? Give me food, give me food. Yeah, that's foolish if you're doing that. Don't ask. In some religions, people pray like that. Give my daily bread. Why you're asking for the bread? There is no bread problem. You have created bread problem. There is no. He's feeding bread to even animals. Why you have to bother about that? No need to ask God for bread. No need. That anyway he supplies. That mercy anyway he gives default. You don't have to ask for it. You go to him if you want to relate a relationship. You need him because nobody can reciprocate your love. You avoid him, just like say a child walks out of the house. One thing the father, mother will say, Beta, you're going, you go. But one thing I tell you, nobody love you the way we love you. True? True? Well, the last word a father will say. I want to stay with you. Okay, my dear son. Nowadays, that's very common. They get a job in the same city, they don't live in the same house. So I don't want to stay here. My dear child, go. We cannot stop you. You're grown up now. But one thing I tell you, nobody will love you the way we love you. We really love you, my child. You can stay with us. That's the reality. The same way, parents' love is a reflection of love of God. The love of God is intense. Parent reflection has only not even 1% the power of the original. The sun is reflected in water. What is there in the reflection power? Insignificant. So Krishna's love is really intense. And if you want to taste real love, then you go to him. And that's why you worship him. And you worship him not for necessities of existence. That's not important. You worship him if you want to strike a relationship with him of love. That's why that is worship. And you go and offer some food to him. Oh, very nice. You're striking relationship. That's how you make friendship with somebody. Then you bathe him, you dress him, you worship him, you chant his names, you read about him. Slowly, gradually, your love matures and develops. You getting my
So is
point?
that
For that you need to love God. Worship him. Not that I'm paying obeisance, give me food, give me food. That is not. There is no need to worship for that.
so is that the reason that our day becomes suddenly happy even if we are in the difficult of the circumstances on a day
You
when you are
forget your
suffering?
difficulty. Mm. We had this very interesting instance. We were in Bangalore, and then what happened was somebody died. Some of our congregation died. He was a very big person, very important, donor to the temple, and he requested that, see, I've been helping you a lot. I'm in mess now. Every family member is crying. My young son has died. Please help me. Come do some kirtan, some katha. I can't stand this for so many days. Everybody's crying at house. We said, okay. We went to the place. And there was a very beautiful devotee. We had senior devotee. He did an amazing kirtan and a class. He was explaining in Bhagavatam the futility of this world and nature of this world, which is temporary. And just like that, we had a Yudhishthira. Nobody thinks he will die. Everybody's going to die one day. So explaining, you cannot believe, everybody started smiling. And not only everybody started smiling, the wife started laughing. Everyone looking at her, what happened to your husband? He said, what are these people speaking? I can't believe this. She was so happy. So it can just turn around the most difficult position if you are on knowledge. You become so peaceful. So truth, we should always hold on. Truthful. Mind definitely has pain, emotional, because attachment. Definitely there is attachment in the world. But the foundation should be the truth, which keeps you going there. It takes some time. An injury like this, emotional injury when you leave your life partner, is going to take time to go away. But the knowledge is what keeps you going there. Otherwise, people get into depression. Nowadays, so common. No spiritual knowledge. Nobody even to comfort you when somebody dies. You have to cry alone. That's it. Today, isn't that the reality? Previously, suppose this is a common death occurs. Whole family is there to comfort you. You can cry on their shoulders. They help you. They're there to empathize with you, sympathize with you. But today that has gone away. I'm just seeing that reality. They go to psychiatrists only, and they do the same job. They cry on their shoulders. That's all, and they have to pay money for that. Isn't it reality? Did you notice the difference?
Yeah,
Because there was
I mean,
previously
yeah,
so much affection even in family members, really they will come and be with you with the situation. They will there stay with you for a few days to help you out of the emotional pain. Today nobody is there. Nobody. Psychiatrist. And pay money and they give you some tablet. That's all. Isn't it? Very interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So the fundamental is basically if you worship and get emotional attachment to God,
Huh.
you can have you can overcome any of the circumstance. Like you can, even if you're in the baddest of the shape, if you have that relationship, you can, it will feel like that it's nothing.
Now another thing which I will add on now, whatever the worst of the stage has not come accidentally. It's all planned. It's an exam for you. And never an exam is more than your capacity. You should always note that. And it is an arrangement by the Lord through the laws of karma, sometimes not personally. For devotee, it is personally done. For sometimes it is laws of karma. It's an examination for development of your spiritual and mental muscles. We are only focused on physical muscle. Therefore, yesterday I was joking. In the morning time, don't do that. You should chant. Because you should prepare. Exam will come anytime. Preparation helps in any examination. So when you chant Hare Krishna daily, you read about the Lord, you're developing your faith more and more in the Lord. Faith is cultivated. And then when a situation comes like this, you can pass exam very easily. You don't get breakdown. Interesting? So every moment you should thank God. Even if suppose somebody dies in family, thank you, my Lord.
Regarding
You've given me a tough exam, I'll pass it at your lotus feet. Thank you, my Lord. Anything good happens, we should thank God even for bad, because there is nothing good and bad for him. It's just to give you examination for you to develop. And if you can look at life like that, it is said the Vaikuntha Vamena will be waiting outside our house. Anytime you can board and go.
Prabhuji, why does it happen that we
Tattyanukampa
always
Punjana
forget?
evatma kristam vipakam. There's a shloka from Bhagavatam that is somebody is constantly begging for the mercy of the Lord. Anukampa, my Lord, please be merciful to me. And any difficulty comes, takes it as Krishna's mercy. Always, even in the most difficult position, with body, mind, and word, is constantly worshipping Krishna. Takes it that Krishna is in total control of his life. Good and bad, whatever I'm undergoing, I'll bear it. Then going back to Krishna's lotus feet, that kind of faithful person, for him going back to Krishna's lotus feet is his right. Daya bhak, like father's property, the right of the child legally. So going back to kingdom of God becomes his right. Amazing shloka. Tatte anukampama susikshamana. Somebody can locate the shloka and put it in the group. It will be nice. Tatte anukampama susikshamana. Munjana evatu kritam vipakam. Hridvagvapobhi vidadam namaste jivet yo mukti pades daya bhag. Daya bhag is his right to going back to Krishna's lotus feet. The laws of karma are very beautiful. Now, should we see one of the videos today? Something they reminded me in the beginning. Sir, today don't forget either the mind control one or the puppet.